Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Next Issue podcast. Your one beacon of hope in this world. Hopefully,
True
Um,
that.
No hope in this cube.
on today's show, the Hollywood squares. We can't even get 9, so here we are. On
I'll be
today's
the
show-
evil Paul.
We will be the ones to follow
is that
Jeff's
right?
excellent advice, which is putting Alf in center square.
Yes, Alf should definitely be in center square for this new Hollywood.
Totally.
I don't know why it's Drew Barrymore. No way.
She paid
They-
to be there. She needs
usually-
needs those fans.
I feel like both the old and the old reboot of the Hollywood squares had a rotating center square on a case. Like it'd always be like the big square, but
Yeah.
it would, every so often they would swap them out. So one day, Alf.
One day I'll feed up. All right. Before we get into everything, we know there's a lot going on everywhere. But unfortunately, specifically this week, a lot of people in California are being affected by these wildfires. So we have on our description of the video, we have a couple of links where you can go help. Clay, do you want to tell us a little bit about the one you sent me specifically?
Yeah, that there's a GoFundMe for Steven Seagal or Seagal that he wrote Alpha Flight, but most importantly, he wrote a book about Superman, but the angle of writing Superman and how hard it is. He also did House of what's the DC book? I want to say House of Mystery, which is a fantastic Vertigo run that I read back in the day. And in fact, I'd met him at San Diego Comic-Con and I brought that up and he was like, he gave me a postcard of art from it because he goes, nobody ever remembers that. He's just like, here, thank you. And
Didn't he also write Sandman Mystery Theater?
yes, he wrote Sandman Mystery Theater.
Great series.
And it looks like he had done some teaching with the person who put his GoFundMe together. But yeah, they lost their house. There's a GoFundMe link to help him out. Just from the short meetings or the short meeting I had with him, good guy. And it looks like his whole family is in need of help. So if anyone can help, please and do.
Yep. I also have a link in there for a friend, Ben Mekler. He's a writer, director. Most recently, he wrote on the what's it called, the Kung Fu Panda, the Dragon Knight on Netflix and stuff like that. They also lost their house, him and his wife and his kids. There's unfortunately there's too many people that need help right now. So pick however you can, give whatever you can, hopefully that we can move on from this and they can recover. So we'll keep them in our thoughts here for now. So if you want, I wanted to do this at the beginning of the show while we have everyone's attention still. So you can feel free to tune out now. The important part's over. But yeah, if you want to just get distracted for a little bit, let's talk about good movies from last year. And as going into the year, I was like, this 2024 does not look as good as 2023, which was fire. Whether it's like the genre films, in a year where Sony gets to do 3 movies for superheroes.
Oh God, they did do 3, didn't they? Wow.
Yeah, they did.
3 stinkers.
I know. So
3 masterpieces.
But today we're gonna talk. Yeah, I mean,
Of shit.
Gotta rewatch Craven. See how I really feel about it. Maybe the home release has better Rhino graphics.
I don't mean to derail the show right off the bat, but what do they? So they've given up on their Spider-Man. So what other? I mean, the only movies that people are interested in now are licensed properties. So who do they have left? I mean, they've got all their video game stuff, I guess. But I don't really follow video games, so I don't know what their big video games are. But I don't know what properties.
They did just
Like, this
announce
is our
it. So they're
franchise.
making a Horizon Zero Dawn movie. They're making I think that was Sony because it's all PlayStation stuff. So,
Yeah.
So they do seem to be doubling down on the game properties.
If you're a Sony PS exclusive, you're getting made into a movie, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Is that what was the one that Tom Holland was in where he was like kind of Indiana Jones? Is
Uncharted?
that a Sony?
Oh, Uncharted, yeah.
More like Uncharted. Am I right?
It's weird because Wikipedia lists Anaconda as a film series that's owned by owned by Sony because they're rebooting it.
Oh, right.
Is it comedy?
No, I think so because it's two comedians in it, right?
Yeah, I think is it Owen Wilson and Jack Black or something like that.
It is Jack Black and somebody. I think
it's Paul Rudd or Owen Wilson, one of those two white guys.
Anaconda Reboot. Hang on, it is Paul Rudd and Jack Black.
I knew it. Featuring or Mix-a-Lot.
And we're all going to be shocked when it ends up being just a straight action movie.
Not for shot remake.
It's gonna be a drama in the style of like Heart of Darkness.
Yeah, right.
Is Paul Rudd playing the J-Lo role?
One can only hope. No, I think Jack Black is playing the J-Lo role,
and Paul Rudd is playing the John Voight role,
or the
Ice Cube role.
It's just the two of them playing all of the roles. It's like an old Eddie Murphy movie, but it's just the two of them instead of Eddie Murphy playing.
I'll tell you this: we're doing an Anaconda show in 2024 at some point.
Oh my god, I've never seen it.
Oh my god, the first one, it's so good. It's bad it's good though. Like if
we should do like our favorite dumb like creature feature show.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
So many.
Yeah. John
Voight could do a whole episode on his own.
Dude, John Voight's South American accent is bar none. Like you've never heard John Voight like this.
Why would you get John Voight and have him do a South American accent?
Well, you see, in the 90s, only white people could be in movies, Josh, unless you were J-Lo. Or Ice Cube, I guess.
Yes, and if you were J-Lo, you still played like a maid in Manhattan.
Right. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
I forget what was her job in Anaconda?
She was a documentarist. Documentary maker.
Do you want to know
Owen Wilson was in the first one? That's why I thought he was in the second.
That's why I thought he was in the first one, yeah.
Oh, he was?
He was the camera dude.
Wow. Do you guys want to know the Sony franchises? Because there is a list and it's pretty funny to read.
I want to hear it, yes.
Yeah.
Annie.
Yes, give me the Dark Annie reboot series. Like 7 movies of Dark Annie.
There is no tomorrow.
We're just going to start mashing stuff together. It's going to be Annie meets Venom. You know?
Why did you say Daddy Warbucks?
What about Anaconda?
Oh, shit! Yes! Excellent.
All right, we don't talk about movies.
Excellent. Sony hire this man. All right, come on.
Jack Black plays Annie.
Yeah,
he's got the curly hair. He'd be great.
The Boys is a Sony franchise, so that's in its last season. Breaking Bad, that doesn't have anything else. Charlie's Angels.
Oh.
Dragon Tattoo.
Oh, like girl with
dragon tattoo.
Yeah, all right.
I don't know what Hilda is. It's a graphic novel and a TV series.
Oh, that's a young adults book. Yeah. I've seen it.
Jumanji.
Perfect. Those have been pretty good.
I admit. I hate Kevin Hart, but I will watch a Jumanji with Kevin Hart in it.
Yeah.
Karate Kid. Lake Placid.
New one in 2025.
Lake Placid.
Look Who's Talking, which I've heard is being rebooted again. So, there's that. I don't know what the
I want the baby to be voiced by John Goodman.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Oh yeah. The Mexico series is the Robert Rodriguez trilogy that is like over 20 years old now.
I was thinking, how do you call that a franchise? There hasn't been a movie in that forever.
Hold on, Josh died. Give him a second.
Yeah.
He's got the black lung, Pop.
Man, yeah, no fun.
Rambo, still counting on that one. Starship Troopers,
Oh.
Stuart Little, the Swan Princess, Terminator.
Oh, that's a big that they keep that one going. That anime this year was last year was pretty good.
Universal Soldier, Urban Legend, and Warrior Nun, which I believe was on Netflix and has already been canceled.
Yes, and that's by a local creator, Ben
Dunn.
Ben Dunn.
Yeah. Oh, Ben Dunn.
I feel like they could turn that urban legend into like an anthology series kind of thing pretty easily.
Right.
I thought there was a new one. Maybe I'm thinking Final Destination.
I think Final Destination's getting the reboot.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
As it should.
I don't know.
We should never not have those movies.
Oh, I love those movies.
I think the only problem with that list is at least 60% of them are all things from the 80s and 90s.
Okay, so the newest reboot,
and Andy's from like the 20s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Urban Legends is listed, but only has 3 films. Tried to reboot in 2020, and then was canceled.
Oh, that was probably due to COVID, though. Not
exactly why the COVID. So,
all right.
I feel like they got stuff to work with, but
yeah. Let's talk about movies that did not get.
Do what?
Or that was a bad segue, but we'll get into our list because I was looking at the time, and I know we took a little bit last week. I was like, "Oh, we're not gonna fill the show with comics," and boy, did we ever!
Oh boy, did we ever!
Let me see.
Did we ever?
I'm gonna start, and then we'll go to Jeff because we have 5 on our list, and I think both of you guys have 4. So that way we can wrap it around. And so we'll save honorable mentions. Like if nobody talks about your honorable mentions, we can talk about it at the towards the end. I'm gonna start with a movie. It's called HisThreeDaughters. It's directed by Cecil Jacobs. This came out on Netflix, and on Letterboxd, it says that it's on 2023 because it came out on festivals and stuff, and it didn't really get a theatrical release. But this is a movie that stars Carrie Coon, Elizabeth Olsen, and Natasha Lyonne. So, like, best of the MCU.
That is a top-notch cast.
Yeah.
As of this year, all those 3 people are now in the MCU.
I love Natasha Lyonne in the MCU.
Me too, man. I am so hyped.
She's gonna be in Fantastic Four doing something. So,
well,
Herbie.
That's what we're thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
I mean, the theory is whatever character she voiced in What If might be her character in FF, right?
That feels very convoluted to bring that character into live action, and we don't have time to dig into that hole. But we'll save that. We'll bookmark that.
We'll put a pin in that.
But this movie deals with 3 daughters that come see their father is about to pass. And he's like on his last day, so they've been separated for a long time, kind of living their own lives, and they have to. It's such a small scope movie, and I just really enjoy that. Like it doesn't you don't need to know anything. We were talking about lack of original movies, and I don't know if this is adapted from something or not, but it's just something that it's you live with these people for a week, but it's probably one of the worst times of their lives, and all they have is kind of each other. So great performances. I really enjoyed it. I put this movie on. Here's how I know it was good. I knew this came out and I wanted to check it out, so I put it on like a Sunday morning just to like get the feel of it. And I was like, I'll come back to it later. I couldn't stop watching it. So like on a Sunday morning, I just watched the whole movie. And then
on the Lord's Day,
it's sad for the rest of the day. But yeah, it's very, very good. I highly, highly recommend it.
Yeah, because just reading the description, I go, I don't know, man. I got to be in a good mood if I want to watch this.
It's definitely tough, but I'm telling you, the performances are so good that you're like, this is art. This is art. So yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. That's probably the saddest movie on my list. So let's get that out of the way. Jeff, let's go to you. Since you also have 5 movies.
So one of the movies I saw
before we do that, I guess nobody else watched His Three Daughters, right?
No.
I guess I should get your opinions on stuff if we so all right. Sorry, Jeff, go ahead.
One of the best movies I saw this year. I'll start off with this. I don't watch a lot of movies, so as I was going through my list, I wrote down all the movies I saw, and I only watched 20 movies this year. So
I was far fewer than that.
Well, I was shocked because I thought I had 8 or 9 or something like that, but it turns out I did watch The Beekeeper, and that did come out this year. So.
Jason Statham.
Which is not a bad movie, but it did not make my top 5. What did make my top 5 is Thelma, which was directed by Josh Margolin, stars June Squibb and Richard Roundtree, which is also one of the films that I thought was going to make a lot of money because it looked super cute and it was about 2 old people. And it is super cute, and it was about 2 old people, but it just got, tiny little indie release. But basically, June Squibb plays this 90-year-old grandma lady who gets scammed and sends off thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars to the scammer because she thinks her grandson has been arrested, and she has to send money to the police station in cash. And then her daughter, her whole family is like, no, you've been scammed. It's okay. But she feels so bad about it because she's an old lady and she's afraid they're going to put her in a home and stuff that she decides that she's going to go get her money back because she finds the address that she mailed the money to. And she loops in Richard Roundtree, who has this electric scooter so she can go to the place. And it's really just about getting older and kind of coping with how you get older. And then, how that hurts your pride because you can't do the same things you used to as you were younger. But it's also kind of a fun action movie and a movie between these 2 friends that have known each other forever. It's super cute. And I really loved it. And it's kind of based on, the director was also the writer, and it's kind of based on his grandmother and the relationship he had with her. So that is Thelma. I don't know if anybody else saw it, but
I wanted to.
Yeah, it sounds good. I do want to see it. Is it streaming anywhere? Do we know yet?
I don't know.
Peacock? Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because you made it sound like. Did you guys ever see Going in Style from 1979? George Burns, Art Carney. It sounds a little like that because it was about 3 guys who are old. I mean, George Burns, Art Carney, and Lee Strasberg. And they start robbing banks because they're like, what the hell else do we have to lose? But it's them also dealing with old age. So as they're able to rob banks and get this money and kind of feel this new lease on life, their bodies are falling apart and stuff. And so it's real personal, but also has those joyous moments. So it sounds a little bit like Thelma, which I do want to see.
Thelma is on Hulu according to the internet. So,
nice.
I mean, I didn't watch Thelma, but I did watch The Beekeeper, which is pretty much the same movie, just with Jason Statham.
It really is kind of the same movie.
It's really funny. I think we talked about it in the show, and we were like, "Did we just talk about the same movie, but we watched different movies?"
Yeah, you just swap out.
Grandma also got
Felicia Rashad has a different ending in The Beekeeper than what Thelma does. So. Thelma stood on business. Felicia Rashad couldn't handle it.
If I will say, there was a trailer this week. I haven't watched it. It's called The Working Man, which is another Jason Statham movie with David Ayer.
Yeah,
Squibb doesn't show up in that movie. We're really missing out on an opportunity here, I think, to combine these franchises. So all right. Now we'll go around and we'll start with Clay, and that should mathematically make us even. I think we'll see. We'll figure it out.
Top of my list is AlienRomulus, directed by, I cannot say this name because someone.
Fede Alvarez.
Thank you. This is everything sequels should be. You should take everything from the previous franchises that make it great and add it and make it better. You should just add it. And I feel like AlienRomulus does that because it's got moments where like you get the face suckers and it's not just like automatically they're on you. It's like people fighting them on their face and they aren't as strong as they are in the other movies. The tension is great. The aliens are great. The new xenomorph is great. I mean, like everything you see is like, well, how are they going to make it better than the movies we've already seen? And they do. Like the new alien thing, holy shit, is so disturbing looking. I mean, it looks like Mark Zuckerberg. It's so weird and freakish. It is. I mean, at the deaths, there's just so much fun shit in that movie. Like I loved AlienRomulus, and I'm typically not a fan of sequels that are trying to like reinvent the wheel. And I thought that's what this was. No, this is how you do a sequel, and they do it right. And I was such a fan of this.
We had a full show about this, if I remember correctly. I love this film. It was on my short list, so I'm glad that it ended up that we could talk about it. I think there's so much cool stuff. And as somebody that hadn't watched Aliens when this movie came out, I've seen it since.
Oh, wow.
Which is really interesting because I kind of watched them in chronological order, I guess.
Oh,
because this takes place between Alien and Aliens.
Yeah, 1 and 2.
Nice.
So yeah, I love it. I don't want to go too deep into spoilers if anybody hasn't seen it, but man, it's just a lot of fun. It's really cool. It looks great. And I think there's a lot of really interesting designs for creatures and stuff like that. I do want to share real quick. One of the artists I follow on Blue Sky and social media, Anacondas, did this for their monthly print.
Amazing.
Yeah, so
yeah,
I can't wait.
And I do admit, like when it came out, the initial problem I had with the film was bringing a dead actor back to life to just create like a moment in the film. I don't feel it needed to happen, but they did, and they got the family's blessing and whatever. So that's fine because it does work in the film, and it makes it a little great twist because it falls between 1 and 2. So that's the only thing I did have a problem with. But yeah, I got.
Can you imagine if they had gotten Winona Ryder?
Yeah.
Or I believe the actor who played one of those in Alien 3, I think he's still around as well. I forget his name. Either Alien 3 or 4. No, 3 is with Winona Ryder, right?
No, 4 is.
4 is Winona Ryder. So
3 is the prison.
Yeah. So is the dead actor they brought back Paul Reiser? I'm kidding.
Oh, that'd be cool. Like he moved up so high in the company,
right?
The events, like to remember him, they started making them look like him. That'd be crazy.
Oh, whoa, that would be crazy.
Yeah. It just is, and it's so far better than the last 2 Alien movies. That was the other thing, is it stepped up from whatever that shit was to like, hey, let's get back to facehuggers and xenomorphs. And what if we did this? And what if we created this and people injected themselves with this? And what if, it's a lot of just cool stuff thrown in. Like it isn't just one what if it, off kind of thing.
Yeah. So, all right. Jeff, anything else on that, on AlienRomulus? You watched it, right? I think Josh, you haven't seen it, right?
Not yet, no.
But yeah, there was some cool stuff in that movie. I'm not a huge I've seen the Aliens movies, but I'm not so much a fan that I really remember or distinguish any of them from one another. But there is some really cool stuff with like the alien blood that you've never seen before. And then and now I'm also thinking like there's also like this weird, it also retroactively kind of changes the rest of the movies because now there's this vial of stuff that they've introduced at the beginning of the thing. So you can do like post whatever chronologically the last Alien movie is, and just bring this whole other thing into the franchise.
The cool thing is that the Alien movies are so isolated because they happen. Every incident is just like in one ship, and the galaxy's so large that they could write more movies in the same like parallel to the events of other things or in between other things, and they could all technically still happen because it's so far away. We're getting the Aliens Earth TV show this year, which I'm very excited for.
Yeah,
which happens before the original movie. So like I don't know
Alien
what that's
versus
gonna look
ET.
like, but and if it's just Fargo but with like Weyland-Yutani, I'm still on board. Because that's Noah Hawley's other show, right? So like, or what's the, or if it's just Legion with Weyland-Yutani, I'm also still on board. So,
What if it's like The Office with Weyland-Yutani?
I think I'm still on board, Jeff.
Instead of a paper company, work for a giant mega corporation.
Right.
Yeah.
I do want an office.
Just an office show.
Yeah, it has to be.
I just had a thought though. Could we go back to Jeff's suggestion of the ET alien crossover? I want to see a face-hugger try to get to ET and realize his head is too fucking big, and it just like drops down disappointed, like like it can't wrap around his big massive noggin.
Or he can't get down because he just extends his neck and it's not long enough to get.
Yeah, right.
Oh, but there's like a scene like with all the alien stuff we've seen. I keep thinking about these moments. Is they had this X-ray light that shows a chest burster pre-chest burster.
Oh wow!
I mean, they do. I mean, everything in this is shit we've seen brought up a level, and that's what I really, really love. I mean, there's just so many moments you can go through the whole film, and that's what makes it so fun. That birth scene with the cocoon. And then the 0G acid. I mean, on and on and on.
I like all this out of context stuff that Josh is just listening to.
I'm like, I have no idea what's going on.
So hopefully you'll watch it soon, and then you like, oh, that's the thing, or that's
yeah. I do need to see it.
All right, let's.
And I would like to say, just like Facebook, we're no longer going to fact check this show. So, Josh, we could be telling you anything.
You could, yeah.
We need Leonard Kim with community notes.
Right, exactly. You're like, and then there's a scene where Annie shows up. It's amazing.
Annie, the Anaconda shows up there. All right, Jeff, give us another one of yours, please.
Has Josh gone?
Yeah, Josh has.
Well, we're gonna go around now because then that'll keep us
tie us up.
Math, guys, come on, math.
I don't know. Well, in that case, another movie that I really like this year is Wicked. Wicked, the musical. It is directed by John M. Chu, starring Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo. It is based on the books by Gregory Maguire and the musical Wicked. Amazing music. I don't know. Ariana Grande is super funny and like her acting chops are so good in this movie. Cynthia Erivo is Cynthia Erivo, and she can sing anything. I love that they use practical sets. Thank God for practical sets coming back this year.
Oh yeah, totally.
You know, they planted all those flowers. Like, this movie is just so good. You know, it's going to be, because it's a musical and it's Wicked and whatever. I don't know if it's going to win a lot of awards when it comes to like the big awards. I think that'll get shut out by like the artier movies, because that's kind of what the people like.
I think they're saving them for Wicked for good. I think they're saving the awards for the sequel. I think they're saving the awards for the sequel.
Yeah. When I hear that's the crazier movie. So
yeah, the sequel. I mean, they should win awards for the soundtrack, right? I would think.
Maybe. I would think so. I don't know.
I mean, are there sing-alongs
they won the Golden
in
Globe
Dune?
for Best Popular Movie. So I think it's
which is funny.
Yeah, you know. Anyway, yeah, I really liked it. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but
I also really enjoyed it. I'm not a musical person, but that was really entertaining, really fun, and it was just kind of a cool moment to be like, oh yeah, a fan of movies that are different and something that you don't normally see. And there's so much lore there in Oz that not even James Franco could deter me away from it.
What a callback.
I think 3 people watched that movie as well.
Yeah.
It also feels like an old school musical. Like, I mean, there's all the CGI animals and stuff, but like there were moments when I was watching that movie and it would remind me of like my mom watching Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, because it's just like an old school feeling musical at times as well.
Not since Interstellar had any director planted so much flora to add to their set.
Now, Shelby and I were discussing this because I thought this was a sequel to Wizard of Oz, and she's like, "No, this takes." Yeah, it's like it's a musical. It's like a movie based on the musical based on properties of Wizard of Oz. So I just called it an adaptation, right?
It's a bit of a prequel, then it runs concurrent. The second half of the play runs concurrent with the Wizard of Oz.
Very, very similar to 300 Rise of an Empire, that it starts as a prequel, and then the second half of the movie is a sequel.
Oh, I thought it was a musical too.
It is. Eva Green's voice just projects.
So I would watch a 300 musical.
Me too. You seen those dudes?
Adapt it.
Everyone sing along with "This is Sparta."
It's
a big musical number. That's the 11 o'clock number. This is Sparta.
That's right. All right, Josh, please get it out of this.
Sure. So I had kind of slim pickings. I do not see a lot of movies in the theater, as you guys know. But I was genuinely surprised nobody else had this on their list. So Deadpool and Wolverine was one of my favorite movies of the year. I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't feel like we needed a coda to the Fox Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we got one that we deserved. It was great. I also felt like Deadpool and Wolverine has done something that we hadn't really yet seen before, which is it pulled from the TV shows Loki into the movies more than I think had been done in the past. It was great. And I want to give them enormous props for finding a way to bring back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine without ruining the end of Logan. Right. I mean, it's weird to say, it was a very respectful film, right? About all these properties. So except maybe for Johnny Storm's eyes.
I think it's funny you say that it's respectful. I think if anything, it enhanced the end of Logan because we got to see he digs him out of the ground, right?
Yeah.
Can you watch Logan and then like the first 10 minutes of Deadpool Wolverine and just like that's the movie you watch, you know?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I loved everything about it. The only thing that my problem with Deadpool and Wolverine was I saw it at the drive-in here, and the location ruined the experience for me because because they had started the movie and there's no video. So for 10 minutes you just hear the beginning of the movie and you're not seeing anything. And I see people walking back, but nobody's complaining to the projector. So I had to go over there and tell them, and I said, you have to start this over because you've already played 10 minutes of the film. And they did it, and they had to start over multiple times. So like the beginning of the movie, probably like 20 or 30 minutes is just them playing audio or trying to restart the movie. And it was just a terrible experience.
Oh, God.
And then I had to watch it at home just to see it and just get a pirated copy and watch it, which was kind of okay. But it was just the experience that ruined it for me. I think it's a fantastic film. And the highlight of it is Hugh Jackman playing Nick Nolte from 48 Hours.
Right. Yeah.
That is amazing. He's so good at that because he becomes a different Logan in that movie.
Yep.
And that pays off because it pays off with the ending. It pays off with the mask, the violence, the car fight, everything. I mean, like, I really love it, but like I was just ruined by going to the theater.
So you basically heard the song, but didn't get any of the dance number.
Because you just didn't know what was going on. You just hear stuff and you hear dialogue.
Clay loves the Backstreet Boys or NSYNC or whoever's song.
I can't remember either. Yeah, it was a boy band song. Let's put it that way.
Clay loves O-Town. He's got a 98 degree. He's got Charlie me on your 98 degrees tattoo, Clay.
Yes.
He's got one that's 98 degrees, and on the other side it says "Chicken of the Sea." He's also a big fan of the Nick and Jessica show.
But yeah, a fantastic movie. I think it's such a tightrope walk, right? Because how do you bring those characters into the MCU in a way that feels earned and responsible. And they did it. And it's really shocking that they did it without just like hand waving anything. So
how did they make us feel nostalgic about Elektra?
I know.
That was the magic. That was the magic.
Absolutely.
It was a great payoff.
Only Madonna could pull it off.
Oh my god! And fucking Wesley Snipes, man.
Oh, he's so good.
The best part of the film. And
yeah.
The only problem I see at this point is Ryan Reynolds has set the bar so high as Deadpool, and now he's got to play, Nice Pool, and we see all these different versions. Him going back to just being Deadpool in a movie is going to be really hard because he has to elevate that character for the next movie to outdo this.
Yep. So yeah, only reason I was telling Chloe before we jumped on live and you guys hopped on, all the movies I have on my list are rated 4 stars or higher, and even then there's still more movies that would be in between Deadpool and Wolverine and like this. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the funnest things I watched all year.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't have a ton to pick from. I mean, I was kind of down to this or Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I also made nobody's list, I noticed. So
I did see it. I saw both movies.
I did too. And I enjoyed it, but it's a solid 3 stars. So yeah.
They don't know what to do with that property.
I mean, it's not bad, and I think it is setting up like a new generation, but it just
clings to the old and won't let go. Like they had the ending in the last film, and then it was like, well, let's bring him back again, and now add Janine. And it's like, well, you should have added Janine solo and just let her have an experience, and we left everyone else behind.
I think the corner they backed themselves into is they realized they needed to be back in New York. And if you're going to go back to New York, then you naturally set up bringing in the old guard. So,
but then they had to bring in every kid that was in the first film.
I know that was
got to New York.
You can't make a movie without a podcast.
Podcast is fun. I do like podcasts.
I like podcasts. I hate his name though. I mean, my God, that will not age well. I'm telling you right now. So,
can you imagine trying to grab that handle at podcast?
I'm just saying, it's like watching a movie from the 70s and someone's named 8-Track. It's not going to age well.
It's kind of a cool name, though. 8-Track was like a transformer.
Anyway, that's it.
Let's keep it moving because we're already 40 minutes. Sure. And we're just finishing round 1. My favorite movie, I think this is not my favorite movie. The next movie I'm going to talk about, I think this is the only animated film we have on here. And it's funny enough because this bumped off Transformers 1. Literally, I watched this the week after Transformers 1, which I thought was my favorite animated film of last year. And then I watched The Wild Robot. And then that became my favorite anime. Like, my review on Letterboxd is, I thought Transformers 1 was my favorite. And then The Wild Robot said, hold my beer. So yeah, this is great. It stars the voice of Lupita Nyong'o, Pedro Pascal, Matt Berry's in it, Bill Nighy, like the Catherine O'Hara. Like the cast is super stellar. And if you haven't seen this, after a shipwreck, we follow a Roz the robot in an uninhabited island, and then she has to take care of an orphan baby goose. So it has everything you want: robots, geese. Islands,
the Allspark.
That's right, the Allspark. It's really well done. It's got a lot of heart. I teared up a couple times while I was watching it. And the voices are great. Pedro Pascal, like I immediately recognize his voice, but then you hear other voices and like, oh, Matt Berry's in this. That's so cool. And Lupita Nyong'o was the only one that I felt was actually, I felt like she was the only one that was actually voice acting because I didn't recognize her voice right away. But yeah, it was a great movie. It looked fantastic. So I don't know if any of you guys have seen this.
I picked it and put it on my list just based on Shelby's recommendation because she says the book is really good and so like
it's a children's book too. Yeah,
it's a children's book, and so like I'm excited to see it because I haven't seen it yet.
I've heard it's really really good, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah,
but
It is not streaming anywhere until the 23rd of this month, January 2025. It will come to Peacock then.
Peacock.
So yeah, you can maybe by the end of the month you can check it out.
Okay.
It makes sense. That's a DreamWorks property, which I think it's owned by Universal. I don't know. Follow the corporate map given to you when you come in out of the hospital. You're given a list of corporations and how they work. So, all right, Clay, let's go to another one of your movies now that we've completed round one.
Yes, another horror movie, A Quiet Place Day One, which I like the first one. I like the idea, and then they took this and put it in and gave us new characters. And so you see Lupita Nyong'o again with Joseph Quinn on the first day of the attack of the aliens from A Quiet Place, and these two trying to survive together. And Lupita's character has a motivation to get through the city to get to something, and Joseph Quinn's going to help her. Like, it's just that kind of like when shit goes down, these two people connect and find each other. And it's weird because like in a horror movie, you rarely have those relationships that are so touching that the end will break your heart.
Oh, wow.
And that is what I love about these two. I would love to see these two do other films together because they had such chemistry, which is so great in a horror movie to see because they're the only two and they are carrying this movie. Like, it is so good. And you get to the end and it breaks your heart. It's such, I mean, like, you can't, it's a horror movie. You got to have that ending. You can't have the, everyone gets away happy ending. That's not that kind of film. Yeah. But man, I love watching them go through this city together and just try to survive and just have those shared moments of like, oh, I'm, so-and-so and I'm so-and-so, just meeting and sharing their life together throughout the film. Did anyone else see this or am I the only one?
No, it just kind of went by. I think it came out at a time when there was a lot happening, like movie-wise, and I just didn't get around to it. And I don't have Paramount Plus, so like
that's the only way I saw it was Paramount Plus.
Yeah. So, all right. Cool. Jeff, next movie.
All right. So my next movie is on Clay's honorable mentions, but it is Furiosa. Furiosa, directed by George Miller, starring Anya Taylor-Joy and Christopher Hemsworth. It's the prequel to all the
MadMax.
Furiosa's MadMax. Yeah, it's her origin story. Chris Hemsworth plays this awesome, like, insane villain. Again, just like Wicked, real locations, real sets. I love that it's a real place. My only kind of gripe with the movie is I feel like George Miller was like, I don't know if I'm going to get another shot at this. So I feel like he crammed so much stuff into this movie that I think the movie could have easily been split into two parts because it's super cool. And it kind of makes me wish that we could have gone back and watched his whole latest series as one thing, starting with Furiosa all the way through to Fury Road. So that would have been cool. Watching this in timeline order sounds awesome. So it kind of would have been, for me, I think a more interesting trilogy had he started with Furiosa and then we went all the way through. I love this movie.
Yeah, I agree with Jeff. Because it says Anna Taylor-Joy, but she doesn't become the older Furiosa till about halfway through the film because they tell the young version story for a lot longer than I thought that they should have, because that could have been condensed to get to her, but it's still an important part of the story. Yeah, I loved it. I wish I had seen it on the big screen. I really don't have many complaints about it. I mean, it's just a great story to add to the Mad Max mythology.
I have this on my short list. Actually, I'm looking on my Letterboxd and it's 10 on my list of movies from last year. So yeah. It was great though. It was a great theatrical experience. I think there was just something about the sound of that film that really added a lot to it. And then Chris Hemsworth's fantastic. Anya Taylor-Joy disappeared into the role because she has to, for a lot of the movie, she has to hide who she really is. Yeah. And yeah, it all kind of, it didn't feel like the prequel where like the Star Wars prequels where like we have to explain every little aspect of like Furiosa.
Yeah.
Looking at you, Solo.
They still kind of do it. They still kind of do it, which is interesting. But yeah, I think I love the relationship with her and the Praetorian, and like just all the chase scenes. Like George Miller can shoot the hell out of a chase scene.
Oh my God, so good.
Yeah, his characters are so weird and gross, and it's so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, kudos for Furiosa on my short list for sure.
Hemsworth to play more villains. I would love to see that.
Definitely.
Enter his villain era. So okay, Josh, what else you got?
All right. My next one is one that I assume is on Clay's shortlist. I didn't look. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Wes Ball. Almost in complete contradiction to everything Jeff's been saying about like real sets. Very CGI heavy film, but I went into it a little wary because I felt like of the new Apes films, it felt like it had told its story, right? It was a new trilogy. It was done. And so continuing it on, I think, is a very tricky proposition because it can feel forced. And enormous respect to the writer and the director of this movie because they jump ahead in time and they continue the storyline in a way that makes it engaging, makes me want to come back to a future film. And I think it's such an important thing to do and do it well, right? It didn't feel forced. It didn't feel like, all right, we have a really good, successful property here. Just keep churning them out. And in a lot of ways, it feels like the original Apes films, which is, it was such a huge success that after the second one, they brought in, I forget his name, Clay, remind me. It was either the writer or producer.
Matt Reeves on the original?
No, on the original ones, who kind of oversaw the third through the fifth films.
Oh,
Tim Burton.
No, definitely not Tim Burton. Sorry, I froze.
No, we can see you. Hear
You can? Okay.
Yeah.
On my end, I'm frozen. Anyway, there was some guy that kind of oversaw the original OG films, and he kind of created a storyline that worked, right, for all of those. And I kind of feel like that's what Wes Ball is doing here, and I'm really excited to see where the series goes.
Oh, Richard Zanuck?
That might be him, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, Planet of the Apes was our most watched live show last year.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, I think the one that was closest was the Godzilla -1 when we.
Right.
Oh my God, so good.
So good, yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the film. It didn't make my short list, but I think I have that at 3.5 stars on Letterboxd, so I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. The only reason I didn't put it on my list is just because I enjoyed it, but it seems to be like the start of a trilogy of films. So it's like, it really sets a foundation, I feel like, for the other two.
Right.
I feel like we may not see these characters again, or a few of them. I'm trying to think of the character's name that had that had the Caesar symbol.
Yes.
Is it Rocky? I want to say it's like Rocky or Reiki or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like he might be the staple for all three films, and it's gonna. And again, I'm just projecting what I think about it is about the use of Caesar's name and what it means to the apes.
Yeah.
And I think the first movie, it's good, but like, I'm not connected to really any of the characters as much. I'm more obsessed with like how this society has evolved over 500 years. They have these different sections, and we're only seeing one part, and these are the hunters who have somehow been able to use birds to hunt for them, which is amazing. So it's like, what other clans do we have of apes out there, and what happened to Caesar's original clan that have broken apart? Because obviously they're using his name for evil, where some are using it for good, but they're not out like taking over other camps and stuff. So
yeah.
Well, and sort of like I think I posed this in the show that we did about it. I feel like that character, and I agree with that, I think he is going to come back. I think Caesar's ideas are going to be this film series lawgiver, right? He's going to be the one that is setting up the laws, the morals, the code that the apes live by. So
yeah. And then my other question is, because it's been 500 years, we do see humans that are alive that have been underground and everything, but also these vehicles and stuff that look really well maintained for 500 years old, which was really questionable to me, because it was like, who's in there fixing it up or
we
making
talked
them
about it, and they mentioned it was like, I don't know, 10 generations or something, but apes don't live as long as humans, so I don't think it's as long as we think it has been.
I think
Wes Ball says it's 500 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Really? That's a long time, Wes.
That's a long time, yeah.
That's if I remember correctly, that's what I read.
That feels too
long.
long.
Check myself.
There's no way that satellites and everything stands up for 500 years. Jeff, any thoughts? I know you've been a little quiet on this one because you hate apes.
I hate apes. Is that movie, Robbie Williams' movie Better Man, part of this franchise? Because
yes,
do I have to see that movie? Yeah.
It's actually
I enjoy this movie.
That's what triggered the event before James Franco. Between the James Franco movies and this one,
he just sings the Dr. Zayas song from The Simpsons. That's all.
I would go watch that actually if that was the Robbie Williams movie. I would go watch that.
I enjoyed the movie. Yeah, I think it sets up a nice new, I guess, storyboard going forward for the movies. They do, reference the astronauts that are out in space and stuff, or stuff that's in space or whatever. I think it's fine. It's good. I enjoyed it.
My favorite line on a Planet of the Apes movies, though, is still Michael Clark Duncan saying "bow before Zemo" before they it's because they were having dinner. Anyways, we missed Michael Clark Duncan.
Damn dirty humans.
Yeah.
Great Kingpin as well.
Kingpin.
Oh man, yeah, so good.
All right, my turn next. Also, Josh, if you're still frozen and need to pop in and out, feel free to do.
No, I'm good. I just had to move the screen. Apparently,
just tap the monitor a few times, blow on the cartridge.
I was doing it.
All right. All right. While Josh figures that out, I'm gonna go. I guess I don't know where to go next, but all right. This is a new joint from Ridley Scott that we got towards the end of the year. A sequel to one of my favorite movies ever. It is Gladiator 2. I love this movie. It's so good. Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington in the role of a lifetime. Pedro Pascal as well.
He played Malcolm X.
Okay, that should tell you how I think of this role.
Yeah.
Now, Rome
landed on us.
I think every role every role Denzel Washington does is a role of a lifetime. I think that's just the caliber of an actor that he is. But yeah, this was really cool. Whatever. Keep your badge, CGI sharks. I don't care. It is so good. It's so much fun. It's weird. And it doesn't take away anything from the original, which was my main concern, right? That it would kind of ruin some of those things, but it doesn't. It doesn't really do any of that. So yeah, if you haven't seen Gladiator 2, I'm really excited for the home release because my dad really wants to watch it. He just doesn't go to the theater. So I told him, like, don't worry, I'll buy the Blu-ray. Because the other thing is we have, like, he understands English pretty well, but he'd rather watch a movie in Spanish. So I'm waiting for the Blu-ray because I don't think sometimes the streaming services. The side tangent. The other day I put on Conclave for my parents so they could watch it, but it wasn't in Spanish. And then they speak
Latin.
Huh? Yeah.
You just had Latin.
It's all Latin. Yeah. Peacock only has Spanish subtitles, but anyway, yeah, I can't wait for this to come out on Blu-ray or whatever it's gonna come out on because I'm definitely gonna get one of those. And I know Ridley Scott isn't everyone's cup of tea by now, but man, I still like all his movies. Like House of Gucci, as weird and goofy as it was, I still enjoyed it. The Last Duel, and I like Alien Covenant. Like I did not have a problem with that, even though I know we've talked about how much of how disliked that movie is. But yeah, Gladiator 2. Did anybody else watch Gladiator 2?
I need to.
All right. Yeah, and it's really fun to go back and then watch Gladiator 1 after. Don't watch it before because the other one's well, the problem is that Gladiator is such a good movie. It may make you be like, oh, this is not as good. And so watch the second one first and then go back and rewatch. I will. That was not
in that recommendation on a high.
Well, that's what I did. That's what I. It's Gladiator is a 5-star for me. This one is only.
That makes sense.
All right, Clay, next movie, please.
Now, I'm pulling a movie from 2022 because I got to see it this year. I feel it's a very important film. It had an incredible cast and a very important story. But How to Blow Up a Pipeline, I checked out on Hulu and just thought it was amazing. Like the storytelling aspects, incredible. It's a young cast of kids that we're going to see in a lot of other stuff that I'm excited for. But it's just how easily you can go from being a part of the system to a victim of the system. And enough that you want to blow up a pipeline. Like, it's amazing how everyone comes together in this film. I really, really enjoyed it. I think everyone should see it. Hell, I think they should show it in schools, but I mean, what do I know? I mean, did anyone else see this, or am I the only one?
No.
Oh man, it's directed by Daniel Goldharber, and it's streaming on Hulu right now, or it was when I saw it. So it might be available elsewhere. Let me go ahead and check real quick. And you guys
add it to my list.
It is on Hulu still. So
yeah,
How to Blow Up a Pipeline, totally worth it. It is some interesting material. This is the direction I think we're headed. And
it's about these like oil pipelines that like people get their land reclaimed and stuff like that.
Yeah, it takes place in Oklahoma, and it affects so many different people. You see these different group of kids that you're kind of like, well, this is just a group of kids that they wanted to have, like, you know, a diverse group. And it's like, no, everyone is affected by this. This isn't a diverse cast by that. It is like, well, it goes through this guy's land that he's owned in his family for a long time. It's seized. It's these pipes are put in. It destroys the land that it's at. What the corporations do to people is going to be something not only we've seen for the past decade or so, but we're going to see really, really bad for the next few years. So it's going to be a lot more and a lot intense. And I mean, beware CEOs.
Man.
I believe in you, my corporate overlords. You're doing a great job for all of us. I thank you for the water that you provide. Not free of charge, but
yeah, fuck Nestle, man. Fuck Nestle.
Fuck Nestle.
And if you don't know why I'm saying that, you should research the evil that Nestle does. I mean, there's just so much evil shit that corporations do that no one talks about. But man, once you get into this, you'll see, like, why is it bad for me to shop at Walmart? Why shouldn't I? Why am I shopping at Amazon when this guy's like wrecking the entire working industry? Like, there's just so many elements to this that you can start looking at your own life as like, why do I buy from companies that are destroying this world?
I like it when Daniel comes back to us and going like, down with the government.
Yeah.
Daniel's like,
rebellion, free Luigi.
Attica.
I do like that.
And that's why I enjoyed Despicable Me 4.
Hey.
Love it.
Feels like I didn't miss much.
We are now an activist podcast. Danny, welcome back.
There may be more money in that. We'll see. All right. Clay, anything else on yours?
Nah, I'm good.
Okay, cool. I'm glad you got that out of your system. What is this show if not an outlet for our feelings? Jeff, tell me, what is your next feeling?
I enjoyed the movie Saturday Night. It's by Jason Reitman, directed by Jason Reitman,
I want to
starring
see.
Gabriel LaBelle, a whole bunch of people: Rachel Stennott, Nicholas Braun, Lamorne Morris, Corey Michael Smith, to name a few. It's a whole ensemble. The movie is about the night Saturday Night Live premiered back in 1970, whatever it was. I don't know whenever it was. I think it's
5, right?
Five.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense because it's the big anniversary, right, this year.
Yeah.
It does feel a little like an acting exercise for all these young actors, as they're all just like kind of doing imitations of people that are still very much alive for the most part. But it is, it's so interesting to watch them all inhabit these characters. Gosh, my mind just blanked. The guy that plays Uncle Milton, Milton Berle.
J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons.
Oh, wow.
He's so good as Milton Berle. Yeah, it's really interesting to watch like how Saturday Night Live got created, and it was just a tactic it was a bargaining tactic against Johnny Carson, who wanted more money at the time, kind of thing. And then how it ended up becoming this cultural phenomenon that some of us still watch today. But yeah, I think the acting is great in it. It's really funny. It's by, Ivan Reitman's kid. So I think it's really weird because he probably knows a lot of these people, on a personal level. So yeah, Saturday Night. I don't know if anybody else got the chance to see it, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, same. I really want to, but I need it streaming. So
I watched it at the theaters. I really enjoyed it as well. Like, it just feels very fun, very frantic, like pace too. It's really good.
Shot really well.
Yeah, it's not streaming anywhere yet, unfortunately. But yeah, if whenever it comes out, I'm assuming it's gonna come out on, like, I don't know, Peacock probably.
It makes sense if it were Peacock. Yeah,
feels like it'd be a universal thing.
And there's so many funny little like imitations of, like, the guy that plays Billy Crystal, like, nails Billy Crystal. Like, I'm just like, it's just so crazy how like some of these.
Willem Dafoe's really good in it too. Like, just like,
Willem Dafoe
always.
And Nicholas Braun plays both Jim Henson and
George Carlin, Andy Kaufman.
Andy
Kaufman, and he does so great in both roles. It's kind of, you can tell it's him in both roles, but they're so different the way he plays them. Obviously,
I love actors playing actors who are acting as in sketches. So they're having to like mimic Dan Aykroyd in a sketch, or mimic Chevy Chase doing the news.
That guy that played Dylan O'Brien, I think.
Dylan O'Brien.
He was really good. He was in those Maze Runner movies. Same director we just talked about, Planet of the Apes. So it's all connected. I really enjoyed it. They should make more of these and then do like different decades, because I would love to see like the Adam Sandler like era, or like
when Dick Ebersol took over in the 80s is what I want to see, because like he really has kind of a very milquetoast cast, but then he brings in Eddie Murphy, who's a featured player at the beginning and just blows everyone away and becomes a superstar.
Yeah.
So we could see like the Saturday Night Live universe, because then like the guy that played Billy Crystal in this movie could go on to play Billy Crystal during those years, because that's when Billy Crystal joined the cast.
Yep.
Cool. Very good. All right. Back to Josh.
Well, as a segue, speaking of Eddie Murphy, I want to give some props to a non-theatrical release, and that is Beverly Hills Cop Axel F. I loved this movie. And again, I feel like this is a running theme with most of my picks, which is on paper, this could have been a disaster, right? Revivals, I think, can go one of two ways. They're either going to be a cash grab, or they're going to be nostalgia fueled. This was definitely more the latter, but they really did such a good job of bringing back a cast and having them grow. That was the thing I really liked. There was growth with these characters. It wasn't just like they've been on, frozen in time for 30 years, and then they bring them back. It just the way everyone was slightly different, except maybe Paul Reiser's character, but there was still a lot of love between him and Eddie Murphy, and or Axel. Seeing the way that oh god, I just blanked on his name.
Reinhold?
Yes, Reinhold, thank you. How his character grew. Just everything was really, really well done. And the new people they brought in were very good. I love seeing basically anything with I cannot remember any names right now.
Who's in Axel F now?
Third Rock from the Sun kid.
Oh, Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yeah.
You had a hard time remembering him talking about this last time.
Oh, did I? Yeah. Joseph Gordon-Levitt was really good. Just a great movie. It is genuinely funny. The action is really good. It feels like an 80s action movie. I think I said when I talked about it originally, there are some moments where it's very clear the editing was like, okay, now quickly cut away from Murphy because he's running very old man style, right? Like, this is move away really quick. But it still works. It's great. And I loved every minute of it. It was such a great fun watch and a Netflix exclusive. So
yeah,
go watch it.
Yeah, I watched that as well. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I watched that before even watching the first one.
Which is somehow killing me to my core, Danny. I'm turning into an old man on screen literally at the moment. But go ahead.
But I did go back and watch Beverly Hills Cop, the original one, which is also fantastic. You guys recommend it. That's the only one I should watch anyways. Yeah, so I had a great time.
So you've seen I do want to somehow chart. I don't know how to word this, but like, so you saw AlienRomulus before you saw Aliens. You saw Axel F before you saw. Sorry, you saw the regular Beverly Hills Cop. I mean, like, I want to know what the most egregious. Like, I saw the reboot before, or the prequel before the original.
A lot of people give me grief about watching Alien Resurrection before watching Aliens. I also watched Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes before ever watching the original.
Oh God, no!
I also started with Star Wars. I don't know. It feels like it's just, listen, I'll watch the movies as they were available to me. All right. Now I have a little bit more of a choice of what to watch, but back then.
Did you watch Jaws 3D before you watched Jaws?
No, I don't think I've ever seen Jaws 3D. I've only seen the first two.
All
right.
Jaws 3D is so bad. It's so awesome.
My parents like movies too, and that was one of the ones that we had on at the house a lot.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Jaws 3D
I
is
didn't
cool.
want to go to the water, but yeah, other than that, pretty awesome.
You're not alone, man. You're not alone.
Wow, just a little note here. As I was reading about the director, because I wasn't sure what he had done, but when he was announced as the director of Axel F and replacing the two directors that were on it, those two directors were working on Batgirl. So they left Axel F to do Batgirl.
Oh, those poor bastards.
Never forgot.
I know, right?
Well, those are the guys from Bad Boys too, right? Or from the Bad Boys movies as well, right? I think.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Bad Boys for Life and Ride and Die, or Ride or Die.
Ride or Die. Okay. My next movie. Very recent. Nosferatu. Oh my goodness.
God, I can't wait to see this.
I know it's only been a week, so yeah, I don't think you've had a chance to watch it. Okay.
No,
yeah,
I
I
still haven't
you
had a chance
guys
to see
to watch it. Of course, directed by the Eggman himself, Robert Eggers. Not to be confused with Dr. Eggman from the Sonic films. But yeah.
Or the Beatles reference.
Huh?
Yeah.
Beatles reference, yeah.
Sure.
Or
if you
the
say
old
no-
Batman villain from
Or
the
or
60s.
Vincent Price's Eggman in the Batman 66.
Okay, that I understood that reference, Cap. All right. This stars Lily Rose Depp in a fantastic performance, chilling to the bone. Nicholas Holt,
So good.
Bill Skarsgård, unrecognizable. Willem Dafoe, and once again the role of a lifetime. Oh my goodness,
Dude.
I want his own. And I know he's not Van Helsing, but I want a Van Helsing Willem Dafoe movie. I think, but like the same character that he's playing in Nosferatu.
But here's the thing: this is his second Nosferatu,
Yeah.
right? He's so good in Shadow the Vampire as Nosferatu.
He was
So-
Orlok, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's wild that there's a movie about the making of a movie
right.
because it's so good, and
It's
then
so good,
Defoe like exceeds all expectations
Oh,
in their film.
God, he's so great in that.
And if you want the best example of like how directing and writing can really affect that performance, Aaron Taylor Johnson is fantastic in this movie because he has so much good material to work with.
Yes.
Where as much as I like them in Craven, the Cravens is not a good movie. So, but he did it. I don't think that was his fault. I can definitely clear him of any charges.
Do you think
the president of Sony says all those movies are great? Okay.
Do you think professionally he's really happy that Nosferatu came out like just a few weeks after Craven? He's like, okay, I've gotten my
Yeah. If anything, because then he was contractually obligated to stop talking about one movie and talk about
right. Yeah, exactly.
right? So like,
He was also good as the bad guy in Fall Guy because he plays such an asshole.
Oh yeah.
That's another movie from last year that's overlooked because he plays such a piece of shit actor.
He's really fun though. Really, really fun. I think he's great. But yeah, Nosferatu is so cool. There's some really stunning visuals, and I can't wait. Eggers mentioned that in the home release, there's gonna be like an extended version of it.
Yeah.
Which everyone's excited for, but when Zack Snyder does it, everyone fucking loses their mind. So whatever. There's no bias there, I guess.
Okay, there's a Donner cut that didn't cost $90 million. That is a better film with drawings as replacement scenes.
We don't know that.
Then we know that.
What if we had given Donner the money to make his movie like he wanted? Wouldn't you rather see that?
True, but I will still watch a Donner cut over a 4.5 hour Justice League film.
I
recently watched it again. Still amazing. Anyways,
but is Eggers going to make it in square view? Is it going to be 4:3?
4:3.
I wish he had. I almost wish he had.
Really? Why?
Yeah. Because it would have given you that old school feeling.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah. Okay.
That is a good point. I did like.
Yeah.
That.
Yeah.
And there is one shot when Nicholas Holt is racing through town that is an overhead of the city as they pan up to him from Lily Rose. It's just amazing. Yeah. Like he just has so many amazing shots in this film.
Yeah.
My one complaint is that Orlok's voice in the beginning of the film is so, I don't know how to explain to other. It's hard to hear him.
You definitely will benefit from closed caption, I think.
Yeah.
Which
then covers the film, which is not the best.
I know. See, that's what I hate about closed captioning. Is it?
Yeah.
And Lily Rose Depp, I had only seen in Yoga Hosers, so this is definitely a different kind of film.
Oh yeah, I love the way that Eggers plays with the light. We'll probably talk more about Nosferatu when we all watch it and do our full show. So I'm excited for that. And shout out to the rap performers. I think they did a great job. Probably. I'm
just glad Stuart Little's getting work.
Yeah, I think his family. All those little nepo rat babies. All right, Clay. I think you have one more, right?
Yeah, and again, I'm pulling from 2022 because I saw this and thought, well, this is a great film. People should talk about it and see it. Hundreds of Beavers.
Oh, I need to watch this so badly.
By Mike Cheslick is an incredible film that is so original and has incredible visual storytelling that I feel like everyone should see it. I almost feel like it should be a film for film students to watch, because it just uses so many aspects that aren't being used anymore to tell stories. And there's nothing else like it. And I think that's what got me on the trip of originality in film, because as I pulled like the top 100 films to look at them, and the majority of them are reboots, sequels, adaptations, and very few original films. And so this, that's kind of why I went back to a film that's 2 years old and said, this is exciting. More people should see this, because it's very inspirational to see a guy do a film in this manner and have it put out, because it's competing against Marvel, Disney, and every other, Despicable Me, everything that's out there, and just have this little film that looks amazing and tells a great story. And it's fun. I laughed a lot. It's really good. Anyone else seen it?
I saw it last night because I saw it made your list. And I know that this movie, so I think it made I think it might have been made in 2022. I didn't hear it until this year because it's making like a tour kind of thing.
Right.
And I know it showed at the Texas Theater a couple of times, and I just always miss the opportunity to go see it. So I watched it last night because I saw that it was streaming on Peacock. I don't remember where. It's streaming on one of the services.
It's on Freevee,
Amazon.
It's on Amazon. It's on Pluto.
It's on Amazon.
All those places.
It is so good. It is so funny. It's first off, Clay's right. It should be taught in film schools because he's using a lot of old school film techniques like George Millet, a lot of like overlays and stuff like that. There's a lot of blending of animation, just really crude animation, not like crude as in lewd, but like as in like simple animation that they overlay on top of it. And it's reminiscent of really early filmmaking, and then like really like what people are doing almost online on like their YouTube videos or whatever, where you can tell it's like they're using what the techniques that are available to them. It's not a bunch of CGI and stuff like that. It's just a bunch of just stuff that they're kind of cutting into a scene kind of stuff, green screening and stuff like that. It's so original. It's so funny. It's like Looney Tunes in live action. And it's so ridiculous how ridiculous it gets. I couldn't stop watching it. There are times when the bits run a little bit long because they're like Looney Tune bits kind of thing. And just when I'm just about to start to check out, they do something so insanely dumb or silly or whatever that I'm just hooked right back in. And the thing just goes 120 miles an hour. Like it's so funny. A lot of the best video game sequence I've ever seen in a movie. Has nothing to do with video games, but has the best video game sequence I've ever seen in a movie.
I did look it up. So it did come out theatrically this year or 2024. It did festivals and stuff, and it wasn't available to a wide audience till 2024.
Okay.
So technically we're good there, Clay. Only one movie from a previous year, I guess. No, I haven't seen it. I heard a lot of things. It also feels like not my kind of thing immediately, so I don't want to go into it and then shit on it. Like,
I'll guarantee you laugh. I will put down a guarantee that you will laugh.
That's a low bar.
It's definitely a hard sell. No, it's definitely a hard sell because I've been trying to get my roommates to like. As soon as I was like, no, you don't understand. Like, this movie is going to blow your mind away. Like, it is so different than anything. It also reminds me of the first time I saw The Science of Sleep. So for all you film nerdy eggheads out there, so The Science of Sleep used a lot of practical effects. There's a lot of like things that they just create, and it's like again a lot of like layered of films kind of effects on top.
I'm gonna
be kind, rewind.
If there's not 100 viewers in this movie,
okay, I have a connecting thread for you, Danny, to get there. All right, you loved Edgar's Nosferatu. Yeah. Go watch the original silent Nosferatu, which will put you in the mood for Hundreds of Beavers.
Just to get some sound back in my movie?
Prepare you for the silent movie approach, right? So, yeah.
Okay. Nothing will make you laugh harder than somebody doing a full body tackle to somebody else wearing like a mascot costume.
Okay. how about getting kicked in the nuts? Like,
I mean, that happens in this movie too, I believe.
oh, excellent! I'm there. All right, let's do it.
This is full on like Looney Tunesy cartoon parts that happen in this movie.
It just makes me think of that Simpsons Film Festival episode, and Hans Moleman's film is just him getting hit in the crotch with a football.
All right. Let's see. We are on to Josh's last film.
Yep. Kind of in the same vein as
Oh, sorry. Wait, I skipped Jeff? Sorry,
Oh,
Jeff, your last film.
Okay.
Since Jeff was the last one talking, I was like, oh, I guess we just finished. Sorry. Go back. Rewind.
Rewind. My last film was Lisa Frankenstein. Lisa Frankenstein, directed by Zelda Williams, starring Catherine Newton and Cole Sprouse. The thing I enjoyed about this movie is it reminds me of like dark teenage 80s comedies like Heathers. And it's a period piece that takes place in the 80s, but it's obviously a take on Frankenstein. Cole Sprouse, Catherine Newton's character kind of slowly brings Cole Sprouse's character back to life. And she starts stealing body parts from living people to give to him, Cole Sprouse. But it reminds me of those dark 80s comedies where people are dying left and right, and it's got some dark humor to it. Great soundtrack, great costuming. I think Catherine Newton is just fun to watch on screen. Cole Sprouse is really great in it. He has no really lines. But yeah, it's a throwback to those dark 80s comedies that I really enjoy. Written by Diablo Cody. So if you like Diablo Cody stuff, you're gonna love this movie.
Oh yeah,
so.
She's awesome. Also directed by Zelda Williams.
Yeah, Robin Williams' daughter.
Kid. Yeah.
I
saw this and loved this movie. It didn't make my top films, but it's definitely worth a rewatch. I really love the ending. The ending is so kind of funny and satisfying. So that's my selling point to it. If you love the 80s, go back for this little love story that ends on a great funny note.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Anyone else on Lisa Frankenstein? I haven't seen it. So
I haven't seen it either. I want to.
All right, Josh, let us have.
Yeah, so kind of like Hundreds of Beavers. My film was made in
1999
in 2023, but it was not widely released until November of 24, and that is the film Lee, directed by Ellen Kuras. Again, I'm probably the only one interested in this, but the reason why is because it is a biopic of the surrealist photographer Lee Miller, who I wrote my master's thesis on and have published essays about. This movie has been, not this specific one, but there has been plans to make a Lee Miller biopic since the early 2000s. I mean, it's kind of popped up every now and then. I cannot express enough how amazing this movie is. It is really, really good. It takes a kind of unflinching view of her, which it kind of needs. It doesn't just heroicize her. It really, because Miller was a surrealist photographer. She studied under Man Ray in Paris, was kind of in the loose circle of the surrealist movement. But during World War II, she became Vogue magazine's official war correspondent. And this film focuses on her wartime work, which is also what my research did as well. Kate Winslet is absolutely brilliant in this movie. Actually, the whole cast is great. Andy Samberg as Dave Sherman.
Yeah, weird casting.
Well, it is, but he's so good. And I highly recommend watching him talk about being in this, because it's his first really dramatic role, and how the other cast members had to kind of help him get out of a comedic natural response to things and kind of tone things down. He's really good in it. Everyone is fantastic. The writing is good. The direction is good. It is now streaming on Hulu, so if you haven't seen it, go watch it. It's fantastic. Highly, highly recommend. I had such a great time. Well, I take that back. It's a brutal movie. It's gonna really make you. But from the
Academic.
that has so much invested in this, it was good. So
I was gonna do a little game of one of these things is not like the other, and they went through the cast.
yeah,
With Winslet, Alexander Skarsgård, Marion Cotillard, Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg. Yeah, it's
great. It looks, I'm actually added to my watch list on Letterboxd.
Does it end with Basquiat stepping through a portal and saying, "You just become part of a bigger artist world"? It's like an Artist Avengers movie that's coming out.
That would be amazing. That would be amazing. And then we get the Art Avengers, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh my God.
Josh, did you watch Civil War?
The movie by
Not the MCU movie.
the one by what's his name? Yeah, no, I didn't.
Because it's not very. I think if you are interested in the themes of photographers in war and capturing images,
okay.
I think you'll probably enjoy the film because I think it focuses a lot more on that than actually breaking up the country into different segments.
Yeah, it has the same fun watch appeal that Lee does.
I bet you, I bet you that was this person, Elizabeth, Elizabeth Miller was probably a big inspiration for Garland in writing.
Interesting. Okay.
Now that you've explained who she is and what she did, yeah. So
Ed Harris is still around, so Ed Harris could reprise his role as Jackson Pollock from the Pollock.
He could, well, and
Jeffrey Wright was Basquiat, so Jeffrey Wright could reprise Basquiat.
Jeffrey Wright, yeah. Who else? Well, we can't get. Wow, every fucking name is leaving me. Who played Warhol in Basquiat?
That was Bowie.
That was Bowie. Thank you. Yeah.
We could just put we had a Warhol recently that I can't remember.
Warhol's power is to turn into a can of soup, a la wet American summer.
Paul Giamatti back as Harvey Picar is one of them.
Oh, that would be good. Yeah, that'd be great.
All right. Well, now that we've lost the audience,
but we got the art historians.
Let me get them back.
Oh, we get Paul Giamatti and we get Dr. Venture as R. Crumb.
Oh, I was going to say we have a Robert Crumb, and I didn't know who it was.
Yeah.
I don't know where to go from here, but I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off. This is my only 5-star movie of last year. It is Dune Part 2.
Oh, wow.
Freaking love the Dune. Yeah, I don't like. This is the only Dune I ever need. I don't know if I'll ever go back and watch the old movies or read the books. It's just Denis Villeneuve doing some like amazing stuff, and he does it in a way where I feel like you don't even have. You should watch the first one, but you don't have to. The way he kind of put the story together. Unfortunately, the first one came out at a time where we were all in lockdown and like it went straight to TV. Like it came out in theaters, but I don't think a lot of people went to watch it at the theater.
It was on Max pretty quick.
It was on Max day of, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those. So I really like this. I like the world that no surprise, this is a popular franchise, but I like the world that has been built here.
That's what he does, and he's perfect at it. Like
Yeah.
I love to be in the worlds of that he creates,
Mhm.
but he also hates dialogue. So a lot of the first Dune movie is literally like a Wikipedia entry where you just learn stuff. But you're learning with Paul, and that's a great way to tell the story. And he makes it work because you're looking at just these superstructures and incredible places that have been designed.
And it's just
Learning with Paul sounds like a kids' TV show.
It does. Yeah. Yeah.
That's his YouTube channel, the Paul
Yeah.
Atreides YouTube channel, Learning with Paul.
Learning with Paul. Just stick your
I
hand
think-
in the box.
Rebecca from don't do it, kids.
Yeah,
You'll what is it? What does Yoda say? Only pain lies that way. Yeah. So yeah, Austin Butler's great. Rebecca Ferguson, fantastic. Florence Pugh, Javier Bardem, just rolling like what a cast. You know, no Andy Samberg on this one, unfortunately, but other than that, just like
It's still another
an
movie.
amazing cast. Now, have you guys all watched Dune Part 2?
or one. No, I need
You
to.
haven't seen either? Are you waiting for the third one to come out and just gonna binge them all?
No, it's a thing where I feel like I need to read the book before I watch it, but I'm just gonna have to watch it. So
That's
Now
not.
you have seen Holes though, so that's kind of the same thing. Is
I think there's a lot less worms in holes.
Tremors.
Tremors. I haven't seen Dune, but I've seen Tremors.
I see Tremors. Yeah, absolutely.
It's so cool that the color palette for this movie is just orange, right? Like that's
Right.
all it is.
Right.
It's still very visually interesting the way that Denis Villeneuve does this. I love when we go see, some of the other places like the Harkonnen planet or whatever, because it's very visually distinct. And yeah, this is so good. Oh, man, I love these movies, and I really enjoy the show too, which very different. It's completely unrelated in the fact that it takes 10,000 years. It's 10,000 years before the events of any of these movies. But yeah, it's still, you can still feel like it's the same world connected, which not a lot of TV shows are able to do. It's removed enough that you don't need to associate it with the films, but there's some really fine threads there. So yeah, I think I'm just looking on Letterboxd, very well reviewed movie, 4.4. I hope this doesn't get snubbed at the Oscars. I'm gonna be very disappointed if it doesn't get some kind of recognition. But we'll see. I think they punted the announcement for the Oscars till like a couple of weeks from now. But yeah, I love Dune Part 2.
Gene Smart floated. They just skip it this year because of the wildfires.
Oh, dude. Speaking of Gene Smart, you said Gene Smart, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
After she won her Golden Globe, I binge Hacks this week.
Oh, it's so good.
Right. It's so good. Anyways, back to Dune, where you can also, it's all on Max, so you can watch Dune. And then
Right, yeah. We only talk about Max properties.
Hey, it was voted by our audience as their favorite streaming service. So
yeah.
I would just like to say that I don't like sand. It's coarse, rough, and irritating, and it gets
everywhere.
Yeah. I'm gonna do a solo show from now on. All right. Any other thoughts on Dune before we get into our what is it called? Honorable mentions. No. Okay.
No, except I really like David Lynch's version.
Yeah. I kind of want to watch that.
May
But
thy knife chip and shatter.
Or Jodorowsky's.
See, I would watch Jodorowsky's if it ever got.
100%. But you have to bring Salvador Dali back from the dead. So.
Oh yeah. Well,
I will never watch anything by Jodorowsky. I don't need those kind of nightmares in my life.
The technology is close to bring people back. All right. Let's go on to honorable mentions. Let me kick things off because we've already talked about a few of these. On my honorable mentions, I had AlienRomulus and Wicked and Furiosa. But I also had, and these are kind of my top 10. I kind of cut it off at 10, although I'm going to say 11 because there's one more. Love Lies Bleeding. I don't know if any of you guys watched that. A24 film. Very interesting, very cool movie. I'm a big fan of Kristen Stewart. Also, another Zendaya movie, Challengers, with probably one of the best soundtracks of the year, and that includes Dune, like Trent Reznor and what's the other guy from Nine Inch Nails? Atticus Ross.
Oh right, yeah.
They are.
I didn't realize they did until the Golden Globes that they were.
Elton John's reaction to the winning made me so happy because he literally went like, "Yay!" Like he was so happy for them winning.
Oh, that's sweet.
And if Elton John's happy for you, like you probably done something, so yeah, Challenge is great. Sexy tennis movie, like really, really recommend it. And then my last honorable mention, Conclave. Oh my goodness, what a film!
I need to see that.
It's on Peacock now, so
I know.
Even if you have ads, you only have to put up with like 3 minutes of ads up front, which I appreciate from Peacock.
Oh, that is good.
Front load the ads, then let me watch the whole thing uninterrupted on their movies only. Their TV
when I
shows,
watched Hundreds of Beavers last night on Amazon, so there's a ads at the beginning, then there's like an ad break like 30 or 40 minutes in, and then you get to watch the rest of it. Which I was okay with, but the thing that almost got me to cancel my Amazon Prime was the immediate 10 seconds. You've got 10 seconds if you want to watch the thing, or we're going to roll over to the next, if you want to watch the credits, or we're going to roll over to whatever we decide is next. And I did such a mad scramble looking for my remote, and I couldn't find it in time. And I wanted to, it's one of those movies where you want to watch the credits. You want to, because at the end of Beavers, you're like, how do they make this movie? Let me look at the credits.
Right, yeah.
And I had to, and it was too late. It already started rolling over. So I had to reload the movie and then fast forward through to the end. And then again, like be ready to like turn off, find the button, because it's not the immediate button that you have to press.
Yeah.
That says, I want to watch the credits. You have to scroll to that button. Oof, I tell you what.
That happens with on Max too, because usually there's like a inside the episode, but it still goes away. It doesn't care if there's an inside the episode unless you manually go back and put it back. So
its default should be like watch the credits.
Play. Yeah,
just let it play and then it chooses.
I totally agree. I hate services, including YouTube, that do that. So.
And it makes me wonder how they do movies that have like post-credit scenes. Like, do they just let it run all the way through? Or is it like
usually? Yeah. No, I feel like that's the way to tell it has a post-credit scene is it does keep playing.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But just like get your stuff together.
Very good.
The Conclave post-credit.
It's so freaking the most savage cinematic use of a vape on screen ever. And then just an amazing cast. So I don't know why I don't have it logged on my Letterboxd. I was probably waiting to do a video and I never did it, which is a thing I'm going to change for 2025. I'm going to log them that I've seen them regardless of whether there's a video or not, and then I'll do a review. Anyways, we'll talk about Letterboxd in a second when Clay gets back. Jeff, do you have any more honorable mentions that we haven't talked about?
I didn't put any in the list, but I do have one that I just wrote down. Late Night with the Devil came out this early last year. And I really enjoyed that movie. That is such a great horror movie. It's a self-contained, like it all takes place on the one stage on the talk show at night where they bring out this little kid who's possessed by the devil. And it just makes such good, again, practical effects for the most part. It has a good, cool 70s period piece vibe to it. There's a little bit where it's kind of like it has that found footage kind of feel to it because it's apparently the long lost footage from this broadcast that, went out and only the local people saw it. But they do cut to some behind the scenes stuff that kind of breaks that, found footage thing a little bit.
Yeah.
But also, I saw it in the theater, but I think it works really well because it's about a television show. I think it would work really well as a home watch as well.
Oh, that's how I saw it, and I 100% agree. Yeah.
Yeah. So just super scary stuff. Just a great horror film. Yeah.
Nice. Josh, do you have any?
I do. It's not written down, but I also just thought of it. I would have also had Late Night with the Devil on there. I loved it. Mine is, because I watched it this year, but it came out the year before. The capstone, the Venture Brothers, Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart. I love this movie so much. And it's because Venture Brothers is one of the weirdest things. That show has one of the tightest lore Bibles I've ever seen. And it has no reason to have it be that tight. Everything links together perfectly. It is so good. The movie wraps up a lot of the loose ends, but it also leaves one or two open, which I really liked. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. You kind of get done and you're a little sad because you know there's not going to be any more Venture Brothers, but it doesn't disappoint. It's really great. So
very nice. All right. Well, Clay's about to come back in a second.
Oh, there it is.
Yep.
Clay, we are going through our honorable mentions. We are down to you.
Okay.
You want to talk about some of that stuff? You have you covered?
I can't believe that you didn't have the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare in yours.
I want to see that.
It was right, like it was like at 12. It was like number 12 on my list.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing,
Beekeeper.
I just wrote a note that said, I love it when the good guys win so violently. It's like in Inglourious Bastards type film. And I love it when they know how to use Henry Cavill. I mean,
he's great.
So good.
He's great. Alan Rickman too. Or wait, Richardson.
Yeah.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah. I was like, what?
I put down Transformers 1 because it's a great story. I believe the story is amazing, but like Chris Hemsworth's voice acting is not meh. It should have really been somebody else, I feel like.
Yeah.
Did anyone else talk about the Fall Guy? Because I thought I loved watching Ryan Gosling in films, but like this is a rom-com. I'm not going to go watch The Notebook. This isn't The Notebook level. It has a lot of great action.
Barbie.
Yeah, I mean he's a perfect Ken, but like I just want to watch the stunts and the fights. It's kind of ridiculous at times, but that's what the TV show was. I mean, it was a stuntman who solved crimes. I mean, everybody in the 80s solved crimes, Heart to Heart. You just or you had a helicopter in Simon and Simon or Airwolf. It was a weird time.
Yeah, I really enjoyed Fall Guy too. I haven't seen that extended cut that some people that more.
Yeah, it just had more action, I thought.
Yeah. It's just more stuff, more action that they cut out for the theatrical.
Yeah, and then nobody else talked about Godzilla versus Kong: New Empire.
That was fun, but it was not gonna make it to the best one.
It's fun. I love, Kong Skull Island's probably to me the best, but I just so sick of the humans, man. I could give a shit about them. I just want to see them run and hide and not, I don't need a story.
I do love kaiju dental work.
Yeah. Godzilla X Kong. It does that a lot better. I think it does less than anywhere before. And when we do get human stuff, it's fun. I like the story with the little girl, how she's friends with Kong and she's kind of like connected to him. And Dan Stevens is this crazy veterinarian for kaiju.
Dan Stevens doing Dan Stevens.
Yeah,
like I got to be the weirdest one that stands out in the cast.
So
I have one more honorable mention, if I may.
Go for it.
Abigail, the little
vampire.
Abigail was a fun movie that I really enjoyed. All these people are brought into. They don't know they're all bad guys or whatever. They're brought into this house to steal something or another, and the little girl turns out to be a vampire, and she slowly eats them all. It's super fun action. Another Catherine Newton movie. Yeah, exactly.
I forget the name of the main guy that does ape stuff.
Isn't Dan Stevens in that movie too?
Proximo.
Dan Stevens
Dan Stevens as well. But also the guy that does the motion caption for Proximo Caesar, he's in it.
Oh, yeah.
He was the Blob.
Oh,
yeah. He's about to be in the new Naked Gun films.
You'll know him if you see him. Yeah, I had a lot of 3.5 star movies from last
Kevin
year.
Durant.
Kevin Durant, the basketball player from Oklahoma. This is not in Oklahoma anymore. All right, cool. Clay, you had something for us. I don't know if you can present with Digby sitting there.
Yeah, I know. What I did was I took all the films of last year, and because there weren't like a lot of like incredibly original films. I wanted to see out of the top 100 films, like, you know, let's see here. Damn it. Sorry.
I'm literally doing it with one arm tied
I
behind his back.
am, because he's like getting restless. So I took Box Office Mojo and imported it, and then I defined all the movies by type. I started to put our names in to see like how we did in our draft, to see like, you know, what kind of films are we getting.
Yeah.
And let me see here. Where is, I have a pie chart. I have information, damn it. There it is.
I love a good pie chart.
Yeah.
Pie chart.
So
Rhubarb pie chart.
I had
Come on,
rhubarb
Diggles.
pie last year for the first time ever, and it was good.
Was
Love
it?
me a good rhubarb. Yeah.
So no lying there from
oh God, can you not just open this
Yeah,
bigger?
I think that's
no,
as big as
I'm blanking like you, Josh. I know what
All
you're
right,
going
thank
for.
you.
I just can't think of bebop, rhubarb pie.
Yeah, exactly.
So the bulk of what we get as films are sequels and adaptations. And I include an adaptation, like the Garfield movie was in there. So I say that's an adaptation. If there's a book, it's an adaptation, manga, comic. But if it's a sequel, like Deadpool versus Wolverine, I put it in sequels. There are a few that are remakes, which would be like Nosferatu. But we also had a few re-releases like, oh my God, Coraline was a re-release. Interstellar was re-released. And those both made the top 100 films.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and so we even had biopic like Lee. We also had a Reagan biopic.
That's right.
Yeah, fuck Reagan.
And
then this is
the Apprentice would be a biopic, right?
The Apprentice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Trump movie.
Oh, it wasn't in the top 100.
The Sorcerer's Apprentice?
That I had real problems getting distribution. Like nobody wanted to.
I don't understand why.
Shocking.
That sounds great. He won a Golden Globe for a different movie.
For a different movie, yeah, exactly.
He was nominated for 2 things though. One of them was The Apprentice. There's a better look there, Clay.
Yeah, oh, that's way better. Yeah. So original films of 2024 that made the top 100 is such a small percentage of what we're getting, because it's just rehashed old stuff that I'm getting, you know, it's kind of a bummer, you know, that we're not getting original film anymore. But I think film is changing, and I think that's the problem. There isn't the experience of going to the theater anymore. It's just properties. And that's
well, they're
really
not gonna none of the top executives at any of these movie companies are going to push for a mid-level art film anymore to get to the theaters. It's all gonna be just tentpole stuff for the most part.
But this goes back to the argument I often make about the 80s, where you had big summer blockbusters that were new and unique. Last Starfighter, Back to the Future, Goonies. Like, these were things that were big budget films, but they're new and unique stories. And we just don't seem to do that anymore. That doesn't seem to be the point. And it's kind of sad. I mean,
yeah,
I don't think that they have. I think there's a problem in 2 different areas. So one, I think the problem is they do occasionally try it, and I will bring back I'm gonna say a thing that's like over a decade old, but like Jupiter Ascending. So like, you know, there are things that they will try, but like for whatever reason the audience doesn't go see them, and they become these huge money losses, and then it scares them off from doing stuff like that. Now I do think that they're like Everything Everywhere All at Once, like huge gangbuster movie. For whatever reason, they don't learn from those movies. Like,
yeah, good point.
They just, you know, they're just like, oh, weird, you know, okay. You know?
Yeah, I mean, like Jupiter Ascending, I feel like was one of those films that they want to turn into a franchise. Like, why can't we just tell a simple standalone story? Last night, like I was watching the Criterion Channel. Thank you. Party Girl with Parker Posey.
Oh,
was just
Great movie.
a simple story, and like the 90s independent cinema, like we wouldn't have Kevin Smith if we didn't have those kinds of films coming out at that time.
Right.
And it's just a story about a girl in financial trouble who goes to work at the library and her life, and that's it. We don't tell those stories anymore about normal people, and
I feel like all that stuff gets diverted to streaming right away. So like Night Bitch with Amy Adams sounds like that sounds like one of those movies that would be kind of akin to that.
But here's a good kind of parallel, right? Because again, I think the issue becomes when the baseline is we're starting a franchise, right? So the Dark Universe, total disaster. But what ended up happening after that was a disaster? They said, okay, well, we still have the property. So then you get The Invisible Man, which was a unique retelling of that. You get these other ways that they approach them, and those end up being good and compelling. So I feel like the issue is, why are they not putting money into big budget, one and done kind of tentpole summer movies, right? Again, I just go back to like Back to the Future or The Last Starfighter, right? Because those were interesting scripts that got big money behind them. And you only have one Last Starfighter. You don't need a trilogy, right?
This right here. This is why, because there's $1 billion out there, and everyone's chasing that as opposed to making a good movie.
Yeah.
And I also think that those directors, I think we're seeing a lot of directors that are coming from like, that are kind of following the Michael Bay, like they're commercial directors that studios can control easier.
Yep.
And a lot of those like older, your Spielbergs, who's the guy that did the Here movie?
Right.
Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like they're still out there doing, like Zemeckis is still doing some really interesting stuff.
Right.
But again, people just aren't going to see it. Like they're just not going.
I think we're going to hit burnout, and I don't know when, but it's going to be when we don't see these $1 billion films.
Or when we start seeing films that they don't want to release theatrically that do really well in streaming. And I think we're going to start seeing that more and more.
Yeah.
And executives are going to be scratching their head like, well, why did this do well and this not, right? I do worry at a certain point it's just going to be all streaming, and all we're going to get theatrically are the Avengers, the MCU, big tentpole. You want to see it in a big screen, right? And that's it.
Yeah.
I think as long as movie studios are willing to, and this is the big if they're willing to put prints out there for movies to watch or theaters to screen, I think you'll see, kind of in the way bookstores have kind of gone, like a return to the more indie.
Yeah.
And if we're showing this old, like here's something that you can come and watch. And then some theaters honestly just stream Netflix to their screens or whatever. Smaller theaters, I see those on TikTok all the time.
Interesting.
I think as long as there is still licensing stuff to, like, I think small theaters will probably end up building their way back up, because I think there is a need for that kind of things. I just don't think theater owners have figured out how to bring people back out.
They need a good balance of like the little things, like there's I think there's like a little game simulator thing you can play where you're a movie owner and you have to find the right balance of like the big movie but that costs more, right, versus the indie versus like re-releasing something. So like it's a whole thing. And the other problem is that most theaters are just giant corporations that don't care to do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, because Sony could make some smaller films and make money, but they have these franchises that's all they want to kind of put their money on, which is scary, because I mean, Sony could be the next A24 if they wanted to, but they'll never put out those kinds of films.
But here's what's so weird. Who bought Draft House? Sony. So it's like, why are they not making smaller movies that they know the audience at Draft House will go see?
So I went to Draft House since Sony's bought it, and it was not a good experience.
Really?
They had their staff was very low. We can rarely afford to go to the theater, much less buy stuff. And so it was like we got a drink, got the wrong drink, then we tried to get it replaced. Then we just didn't get anything. Then we didn't get our tab until like the credits to pay. So we were sitting through the credits of Nosferatu waiting for, our credit card to come back. And it was just all over a bad experience. And it was just because of staffing. Like that was the problem, is like they don't have enough people there, and they're going to run it like Sony runs shit, and they're going to run it into the ground. Really should have local people running these theaters to bring back some of the great movies that people return to the theater and see, or things that they've missed in the past that they'll get to see on the big screen for the first time.
Well, which is, and to Jeff's earlier point, that's how Barnes and Noble turned themselves around. They got a new CEO who basically said, let's make every store more like a local indie store. Yes. So we want staff recommendations. And you go there now and it's like, it's all over the place, and each store feels a little unique, and it's been working for them. And so again, it's like, take a page out of these success stories, So,
the human element in stuff, because that's what we're looking for. Get the hell out of here.
It's all AI now. That's all we care about.
I want the robot to tell me what to do.
Well, there are micro theaters. Dallas has a micro theater in Spacey. Have you guys looked up Spacey?
No.
It's a small theater. It shows old independent films or like hard to find films. It's not. It's over off of Polk Street.
What is this? A theater for ants?
Yes. But I've signed up to their newsletters to see what they're showing, and it's like Criterion type stuff.
Wow, this is great.
International films that you probably aren't going to see on streaming. So that might be the way back to it. It may start with just tiny theaters rebuilding. But like to Josh's point earlier about films like The Last Starfighter, the reasons we had those big films in the 80s led to the boom of theater building in the 90s. That's where we have like an AMC 30 over here that destroyed like 5 other theaters in the area of Mesquite. So now they can't fill that place at all, and so it's like turned into a dinner place. It's turned, they're trying anything to get people in there, and it's not going to be a Dune worm popcorn box that's going to get people to come back into the theater. It's going to be the quality of film that they put out, and I think they need to take risk on smaller, good stories.
I think because I do think that the big theater corporations are running in the wrong direction as to try to get people. Because I saw plans for, I think it was an AMC like megaplex, that they're like, they're gonna have like pickleball courts outside of them. Like they're doing all kinds of, like, it's a full on like incorporation into like a park and stuff like that. And I'm like, but you're there to see a movie. Like you're there to see a movie. Make the movies about going to see a movie, not like this evening out experience.
Okay, I
with somebody playing pickleball in front of it would be pretty.
I have a free recommendation for giant theater corporations. You want to bring people back to the theater. What you need are bathrooms right off every theater, because that's why we like watching them at home, right? I need to go to the bathroom. I pause. I walk away for 30 seconds. I come back. I'm good. If I just add a movie theater with a suite of bathrooms right there, and I miss 30 seconds of the movie, or I can hear it, I'm there, right? You don't need pickleball courts. Just put bathrooms in every theater.
And be a little more proactive about people on their phones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely that.
So, okay. All right, we're getting close to it. I sent you guys a link, and if you want, I just want to real quick show you guys my year on Letterboxd, my little Wrapped. And if you guys have it or want to pull it up, feel free to do so. We can look at it.
Yeah, I got it.
I logged 80 films, reviewed 69. Nice.
And
nice. Chris Hemsworth, my most watched actor. So, and I was like, who the hell is this director? My most watched director.
Yeah.
He's the director of the Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths animated.
Oh no wonder.
I
Like 3-part.
three technically.
Yeah.
So that was funny. My highly rated films of 2024. HisThreeDaughters should be here, but it's technically a 2023 film because that's when it came out. So, because that would be my 4.5 stars. Everything else is. I like that it tells you like which of the weeks you watch the most movies, what your most watched day of 2024 is. Which I guess I do go to the theaters a lot on Sunday, which is interesting.
You also don't read on, or you don't watch on Tuesday and Wednesday when you get new comics.
That's right. This is crunch time for me here. I also go play Star Wars on Mondays and then One Piece sometimes on Tuesdays. So yeah, this makes perfect sense. This is outline of my week. And then my first watch of 2024 was The Dark Knight Rises. My last watch, A Complete Unknown. And this was really funny. My 50th film of last year was The Crow.
Oh my god.
Which is a banger.
So
and look at that cool art. Artist Danny Haas from the 70mm podcast did that, and it's really cool. But yeah, let me see. Does anybody else want to show theirs?
I didn't do enough movies last year. I'm trying to do it this year.
Here, I'm
trying to be better at that. I'm trying to be better at logging what I read on League of Comic Geeks, so I can have the comics that I read at the end, so I can have some stats. So, all right.
So here's mine. I watched 30 films. I reviewed 10. 52 hours watched. I don't know either of these. I don't know what the hell is going on. Stefan Kapicic was in Last Voyage of the Demeter. I don't know why he's my most watched actor. Oh, he
had the most screen time?
No, he was also in Deadpool and Wolverine, apparently.
Did you watch Clue a bunch of times or something? Because that's the director of Clue.
I watched it once. I don't know. Highly rated films. Yeah. Oh, look at that. I actually gave Ghostbusters 2 4.5 stars. So I think I've recanted that.
That nostalgia didn't last long, did it?
It did not. No. Again, my most watched was the just before Halloween. I also tend to watch most movies on Sunday.
Nothing on Wednesdays though, huh? Interesting. Josh is reading the comics on Wednesdays.
Yeah, and no, I'm not. I'm usually working. First watch, Galaxy Quest. Last watch, Name of the Rose.
Wow.
What a
weird double feature there.
Yep. And then most watched theme, crude humor and satire. Most watched nano genre, fighting, cool, killing.
That sounds Josh. Very Josh coded.
Yeah.
Nano genre.
Nano genre.
Yeah, we love stats. So, that's why I want to do more of the League of Comics, because then that also gives you a bunch of stats and stuff.
Oh,
I don't
cool.
have Spotify, so like I don't get a Wrapped, and I feel left out when everybody's posting theirs. So, all right.
My number one artist was Aretha Franklin for my Spotify Wrapped.
Very nice. That's a good one.
That's good.
Protest Spotify. It's not good for the artist.
That's true.
But they give you the Wrapped, so like
buy their music, play it at home.
All right. Before Cliff goes on another rant, let's
another thing about these oil companies.
Yeah, right. Quick reminder, speaking of that, we have a bunch of links in our description of places you can help. You can help people directly. You can help organizations that are helping people directly. Yeah, it's such a trying time. 2025. Oof.
Man,
what a way to start the year. Also, if you're in the area, hopefully the ice is cleared up for you. Mine looks pretty good outside. We didn't have any issues with this winter storm, luckily. So hopefully everybody's getting out of their houses too. I need to get out of my house right after this, because I've been stuck in here for 2 days, just pretty much sitting here, either working or doing other stuff, because I couldn't go out. So, all right. Anything else? Any last thoughts, you guys? No.
Nope.
Great.
That was fun.
Yeah, it was good.
8 days. We're 8 days away to the end of TikTok, maybe.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
I'll go. We're all gonna go live on the 18th into midnight. I don't know how that was gonna work. That'll be
young people problems.
Right, yeah, exactly.
It's everyone's problem. You talk about blowing up a pipeline. A lot of government control there. Anyway, before I go on a rant, thanks for watching.
We almost got Danny to go on one.
Rant. Give into your anger.
Don't take my TikTok away.
No, zero due process.
What am I gonna do? Go to sleep early?
Read a book?
You have to go outside?
Gross. All right. Next week, I don't know what we're doing next week. I have a thing. These guys might do a show. We don't know. We'll talk about some of the other media of 2024, like TV, maybe books, music. I don't know, whatever. To kind of close that out. So stay tuned for that, and make sure to hit subscribe. We're on our way to 4,000 subscribers very soon, hopefully, maybe in the next few months. So yeah, cool. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.
The most important thing in life will always be
El Bebo.
Little loves you.
Simon Center, get the fuck out.